Hey guys, welcome to today's podcast episode. And I've got Jasmine Jonti coming out of Arizona, and she is a DFY course creator, which we'll talk all about what that is. And she's the fractional director of product. And for those that are interested in course creation, digital entrepreneurship, e-commerce, Jasmine's the one for the show. So, Jasmine, welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. So introduce yourself, and I'm excited to dive into the questions.
Love it. So, I
Yeah.
have a done for you course creation agency. And if you're not familiar with the whole acronym space, that's what DFY stands for, is done for you. So, we are a services agency and we work with experts, authors, speakers, entrepreneurs, and we help productize their expertise. So, we take the knowledge and information that's in their brain and we put it into an online learning experience that anyone can learn from and take and get the results that you would normally provide one on one or in a group setting. And that's largely what we do. So we've worked with, as a couple examples, I know you have lawyers in your audience. So one of our clients is a former judge and family law attorney. And so we've built programs that help individuals go through custody battles and divorces, and they can learn from it for what it would normally cost to charge to work with a lawyer for an hour. That's just one example. Similarly, you have a lot of doctors around. We've built programs for doctors who want to help more people and don't want to keep doing one-on-one. They want to leverage their time. Again, we put that information into an online program that their patients can take, or just people online can take, to get the same results that they're looking for. It doesn't work in every niche, but most niches where there's an expert at the head of the organization, at the head of the business, there's something you can do to leverage your time using online learning.
Yeah, really great introduction. And you have a really interesting background, which we'll talk about kind of resiliency and pivoting and changing. So one thing is talking about is I know, for example, during the pandemic, courses were all of the courses, webinars, these were like huge. Like you could just launch a course, a webinar, and it would sell. And how is it in how has course creation changed after COVID with people just returning to work? I heard majority of courses are not completed. Talk about that.
Yeah, it's a great question because you're right. During the pandemic, everyone had to go online. We were forced to go online. So you had this huge influx of creators, online programs, courses. But the difference was the audience also went online. So they were having their first learning experiences in a Zoom room or in an online course portal, and they couldn't tell, the audience couldn't tell bad from good from great because it was their first time experiencing it. But because more and more people went online and more students were learning online, now the sophistication of the market has also increased. And so they can really tell what's a good program from a not so good program. And we all know in today, they're not going to be quiet about it if it's a not so good program. They're also not going to be quiet about it if it's a really great program. So, what I see happening now is the people who are going to stick it out and really get good at this online learning thing will see the results and the dividends and the yields in their life over the next, I'd say, like 3 to 5 years. Right now, we're still in the point where everyone's online. Some people have started to take it back into in-person trainings, but there's still this moment of so many people are online, but not all of them are going to be able to make it. Like, not all of them are going to cut it or hack it. So, if you're one of the people who really wants to make digital entrepreneurship your thing and you want to get out of the office, whatever the office may be, I'd say now's the time to really double down and get great, because in 3 to 5 years, it won't be so easy to get started because the sophistication of the consumer is going to be so much higher. What do you think? Do you agree? Obviously, you're in this space, a lot of professionals who do this online thing. What's your take?
It's really interesting because, like I said, like during pandemic, it was really awesome because I scaled and launched a lot of masterminds, and then right when the world reopened for doctors, it was like crickets because everybody was back in the hospital. And what's interesting is there's a lot of physician brands and influencers, they were selling these, in my opinion, extremely overpriced courses. There was like got around that it was like they're overcharging and you could learn everything they had from like a book, and that's tainted the course creation type thing. And so I know a lot of people are now, I think courses are still like I haven't like I said, you know, people are more on YouTube and podcasts and they consume it that way. But I think if you have a really devoted, dedicated community, and like you were saying, if you really hone the skill of just educating, like creating like a school, like a really good program, it'll do well. But I think it's a lot harder now. Which, moving on, is this talk. The one thing I what are some common mistakes? Course creators, what are the most common mistakes you see them make in content, and how can they be avoided? What should they be aware of?
Absolutely. I think the first thing is that the content needs to be actionable. And it needs to be actionable in the right order and sequence, which at the basis of that's instructional design. That's what instructional design does, which is why a lot of experts, they know what they know, but they don't know necessarily how to teach what they know. You have someone come into your office and you can look at their symptoms, you look at the challenges going on, and you can pinpoint, okay, here's the root cause. But if someone doesn't have that one-on-one experience with you, how are you going to teach them to self-diagnose? That's really where the art and science of teaching comes in. And as experts, as I said, you know what you know, but you don't necessarily know how to teach what you know. And at the end of teaching what you know, you want to send them away with the right actions in the right order so that they can get the result on their own. And a lot of people think, oh, like I made it actionable, like I told them some things to do. But really, the best actionable content, you tell them specifically what to do at the end of the training. You make it very clear, you write it in the portal. And if there's any resources you can provide to make that action easy, you provide those. So rather than just saying something like, I don't know, we're doing a podcast. So rather than saying, go get your podcasting equipment, it's buy these 3 podcasting pieces of equipment and click the links below to get them and order them in the next 5 minutes. That's very clear, concise, crisp. I know what my definition of done is. So more than anything else, if you make your actions really clear, really succinct, easy to do, and in the right order, they're going to get swept up into the momentum and they're going to get results. If you make it very unclear, it's so easy for them to give up that they'll never continue on with the program. So that's my number one piece of advice. And there's more, but if I were just to make this actionable for you, one thing, make your content really actionable. It's a bit meta, but.
I know the other thing is the impact of community. And so, how
Mhm.
incorporating a community with the course, the pros and cons of that strategy.
Yeah, when I consider communities, I think about what's the audience that you're working with. Some audiences love community and they're going to engage in it and they're going to join the program just to be a part of the community. And other audiences really don't care. Like straight up. There's audiences out there, they don't care about the community. They just want to get in, get the result, and get out. And it's also, so it's related to who's the ideal client that you're working with and also what's the transformation helping them receive. If it's a long-term transformation, the community becomes very important. If it's something short and binge worthy that they're going to watch and do once and not really go back to, then a community isn't really a value add, it's a distraction. So when you think about your community, if you're, first of all, if you're going to have a community, you want to consider, is that going to be a value add for my ideal client? And is that going to be a value add based on the transformation they're trying to receive? And then if it is, right, if you decide, yes, I do want to have a community, my favorite way to work with content and community is to activate the community at certain points in the content. So let's say I'll come to this podcasting course since we're here on a podcast. Let's say you create an ideal listener profile. This is something that you want feedback on. You don't want to build this ideal listener profile in a vacuum. That's a perfect place in your program, in your training videos to say, listen, once you do this ideal listener profile, I want you to go post it in the community. I want you to ask questions in the community. I want you to find 3 people in the community who fit your ideal listener profile and interview them. So there's ways that you can activate the community using the content. And there's some other things too, like certain language patterns and just finding a way to build the culture by infusing the culture into the training content itself. But I'd say the number one thing is remind them in the content that the community exists and teach them how to use it at various points in the program. Are you a big community person? Do you love building community? Is it a part of your business?
We do have a community, and that's the like events and community are is the next step for myself and my brand. Right now, I'm in the process of building the brand, and I think we have community, but it's not like a Tony Robbins community or strong like these really that what do they call them? They call them the raving fans.
Yes.
Yeah, it's nothing
Yes.
like that, but that's what I'm. But yeah.
I'm sure you're on your way though. There's this really great article out there called A Thousand True Fans. And it's the
Mhm.
idea of if you just have 1,000 people, like you don't need a million of people across the world who think you changed your life like Mr. Robbins. If you just have 1,000 true fans who've been really affected by your work and are willing to say nice things about you, then that's really all you could ever need. So it makes it feel like a little more achievable. Can I make 1,000 true fans in my lifetime? I think I can. Yeah. So you're probably closer, and anyone listening, you're probably closer than you think as well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So we're midway and so breakaway. So your creation.co, what does that do and how can people interested in the content creation space or the course creation, how can they partner and work with you? What can you do for them?
Yeah, so Creation is the name of the agency. It's the name of the Done For You course creation agency that I own. And essentially, our process is working with experts and doing as much as possible throughout the course creation experience. So that includes evaluating any content they might already have. Many people come to us with a book or a blog or a podcast. They come to us with some kind of content somewhere, and we can repurpose that into the program. We also do all of the graphic design. We do all the portal uploads. We write every video script. We do video editing. We do video production. You go from nothing or potentially just some blog posts to a fully fleshed out course that anyone could buy at any point in time. Now, I also think it's really important to realize what is your goal with creating a course? Is it to add a new revenue stream? Is it to just stop trading time for money
Mm,
with your current clients? Many people come to us, they have one-on-one like clients, but they want to give them an extra resource or tool that makes the one-on-one easier. Because
mm,
now in the one-on-one, you're not explaining the same things over and over again to all your one-on-one clients. You're just answering their questions about the training content. Similarly, is there training content for your team that you need to produce? Like one of my favorite use cases was a CFO that we worked with, so Chief Financial Officer, and she was a fractional CFO with a bookkeeping agency and a tax agency, right? She's a CPA as well. So all things financial. And we built programs for her that helped individuals deploy certain tax strategies into their business. It trained her incoming team on the tax strategy. It helped her one-on-one clients. It helped them deploy that strategy with their one-on-one clients more easily. So it's this system, it's a program that we built once that is used in 3 or 4 different ways in her business, which the whole thing now is just like saving her, I don't even know how much time. A lot of freaking time. You got to know what kind of course you want to build, and then you come to us, we help you iron out the kinks, and then we build it for you. So you just get to show up, get interviewed, review what we send you, and then actually film the videos with our support. So yeah, full on end to end course development.
interesting. And for those that are interested and they have finances, but they're limited on time and expertise, what does this service run them? Is it 4 figures, 5 figures, three? Give a ballpark.
Yeah, totally. It depends on the size of the program. I have people come to me and they're like, I would just want you to outline my program with me and map it out, which you're not looking at a crazy investment there. And we have people who come to us and say, I want a 15-hour course. To which I say, does it really need to be 15 hours? Because nobody really wants to watch a 15-hour course. And we get them down to maybe 10 hours. And then it's a different investment. So we start around $5,000 and it can go from there. But it really just depends on the scope and size. And are you doing video production or do you have your own video team? I'm flexible. We do custom proposals for everyone because I've tried packages before and it's just not personalized enough.
Yeah. Another question I have for you is of all the courses created, is it something like books? Because I've seen the landscape shift. It was like basically you had these publishers and then you had bestsellers and Grisham and all like J.K. Rowling. And then
Hmm.
basically you had all these indie authors like they started doing like hardback, paperback, went to Kindle. And a lot of these authors, they have a book, but it doesn't sell, or they, or they so, I mean, what for courses, you know, what is you know, what is the average amount, or what is the success rate of launching a course? Is a course good for just for creating brand awareness, or is actually a passive income generator?
That's a really great question. I don't have a specific statistic for you on like how successful a launch is because that would determine on what is the success of what is the expert looking for? What is success to them? However, I will say that I often have the hard conversation with experts that if you really want a course to create enough revenue that it sustains your lifestyle, meaning like you have a lifestyle business just based on courses, you have to either become or hire digital marketers
Mm,
because this whole idea of like courses or passive income is actually completely inaccurate.
mm,
Passive income to me is like you invest in a Vanguard account and you look at it once a year and you make dividends, right? That's passive income to me. Semi-passive income is you have a rental property and it's a long-term renter and you might have to deal with fixing a toilet every once in a while, but overall, like you have your renter in there, you get your rent check every month. That's like semi-passive income. Courses, in order to continually sell, you typically have to have continual content or ad spend or SEO work and so whether that's you doing that or someone on your team doing that, someone is doing that. So if
mm,
you want to sit on the beach and sip mimosas and get PayPal dings because your course is selling, you might not be doing the work, but someone is.
mm,
And once I'd say the hardest part is launching it. And so they'll often launch it and they'll get launch fatigue because it was so much to launch it and then they don't continue on. So it doesn't feel sustainable for them. But you can play the long game to where it's more passive. But to say that it's completely passive is just BS, if you ask me. Do I have successful lawyers and doctors and experts who absolutely have a course creation business that does multi-millions of dollars a year? Absolutely. It's 1,000% possible, but you have to be committed to the idea of understanding digital entrepreneurship.
mm. Interesting. Yeah, it reminds me of, because I know a couple physician, like I said, those physician brands, and one of them, he's quote, successful. I can't verify the numbers, but it's because he has a good sales team. Basically, he gets the videos to reach mass scale, and then basically the incoming leads, he gets the sales team to close. And then another brand, what they do is they partner with a lot of affiliates, and so they, like I said, they courses were a bit outrageous, but the affiliates get a really nice commission. So that's so really interesting. So round it out, because you've pivoted, you've done education, and you've also had your fair share of taking courses. So what is your final takeaway, and how can people find you and reach out to you if they wanted, if this avenue was really interesting to them?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. It's just Jasmine Jonti on Instagram. You can check out our website, www.creation.co. That's with an 8. So CRE8TION.co. And I think more than anything, like it's an avenue that people should is a violent word. It's an avenue that people could consider if it aligns with their lifestyle. And there's also a lot of charlatans out there. There's a lot of marketers who are really good at marketing what they're selling. And I'm a kind of person, clearly, I shoot it straight and I don't hold back. And so, if anyone's out there like thinking, I have this idea, I don't know if this is like a really awesome idea or the worst idea in the history of the universe, reach out to me and I'm happy to give you my 2 cents and you can use that information to make a decision.
I really love that. And
Thank
yeah, for the audience, let's thank Jasmine for coming on and sharing her wisdom and expertise. And her socials will be in the links. Be sure to give them a follow. Check out her website and see if it makes sense. And thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.